Hey everyone, it's Vu again. So one of the things that I get asked a lot is for financial advice. Now, caveat, am I the best person to be giving financial advice? Probably not. If you're following financial advice from a YouTuber, a random YouTuber, that's probably not a good idea. So take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But a lot of people come for my advice because, historically I've done pretty well for myself. So they ask me like, hey Vu, like what's your secret to financial success and investing? And I'm going to give you a few tips and secrets that I betcha most of you are not doing, most investors don't do, and most of you won't be capable of doing. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, secret tip number one is just to invest in the S&P 500. Just buy SPY and don't think about it. The S&P has historically done pretty well for itself. It's done something like 10 or 11% average per year in returns. So I would probably say that 80-90% of you, if you only just buy SPY and then hold it for 20 years, you're going to be in the green, right? You're going to do pretty well for yourself. Alternatively, what you can do is, if you have a target retirement year, you just buy Vanguard stock for that year. So let's say you want to retire in 30 years or so, you go look for Vanguard 2052 and then buy that, and then just don't think about it for 30 years. I know this sounds incredibly simple, but most people are completely incapable of doing this. Most people fail here and most people lose money. And the reason why is it's incredibly hard to just put your money away and then not think about it for 30 years, because people have this tendency to want to make massive gains, right? They don't want 10% compounding every year, but they want 10x return in 2 years. And the only way you're going to be able to get 10x returns is if you take a very, very high risk investment profile. And the only way you're going to really come up with a high risk strategy is, one, you get incredibly lucky, or two, you're just some sort of investment god. And with the latter, everybody wants to think that they're some sort of investment genius, but chances are you're not, because I'm not. The smartest people I know are not. It's probably the 1% of 1% of 1%. And if you're questioning whether you're like this genius, you're probably not. And where that's going to lead you is then you're going to have to rely on pure luck to make gains, and that's how people lose money. The normal trap that I see people falling into is that they say, hey, I'm going to be smart with my money, I'm going to be conservative about it, I'm just going to throw it in SPY, I'm going to throw it in Vanguard. So they do that. And they start talking to their friends, or they start looking on YouTube for investment advice. And then, these financial gurus or whatever are saying how, you should buy X and Y stock, or you should buy call options on Tesla, or put options here, blah, 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 blah. You should leverage, you should do a three-legged kind of, you have to understand that a lot of these people giving this advice also has some incentive, right? So if they're trying to shill a particular penny stock or some obscure stock out there, they might be doing it for their own financial gain. When you take a position on individual stocks, that is extremely risky and not insulated at all when there are potential downturns, right? So secret number one, again, if you want to do better than average, it's almost guaranteed, where if you just throw it into SPY or Vanguard and wait 30 years, you're probably going to do better than the average. Secret tip number two, which is not really a secret, but don't invest more than you're willing to lose. And how I do this personally for myself and how I advise others is, even if you're investing in something like SPY, or if you choose to go against my advice and buy Tesla stock or whatever, put in that money and then imagining it completely gone. Remember that South Park meme where, I can't remember who it was, Cartman or something, goes to the bank, maybe it was Kyle, and then invests it with like a banker, and he's like, and it's gone, right? That's basically the mentality that you should have. When you're buying a stock, you should just think of it as money completely lost. Just think about it like it automatically went to zero, and if it goes up anything, then that's just like a bonus, right? When you're so attached to that money you're putting in and potential gains, you're not going to be able to look at your position like agnostically without like this huge fear of loss, of FOMO and negativity. So, which puts you in like a really disadvantaged situation. So I'd say like every position that you buy, just imagine that money's gone, and that's going to make you way more psychologically resilient when things go up and down. Secret tip number 3 is if you're buying a stock, like if you're investing in SPY or like Tesla or whatever, when you put in that order and you see that it gets filled, I would highly recommend you just delete your investment app. So if you're on Robinhood, you put in that order and then just delete the app from your phone. And then you delete all the widgets that show the stock moving up and down. And then you just say to yourself, I'm not going to check this for a year until like long-term capital gains hits, or until like something material kind of hits. You're going to be tempted with Robinhood and whatnot to check the app like all the time. And a lot of brokerages out there, a lot of apps will also like spam you with notifications like, oh, Tesla's down, like blah, Tesla's up, like blah, like everything's going blah, blah, blah. You have to understand that for many of these apps, they want to incentivize trading, right? So a lot of them make their money off of the more trades and the more volume that passes. And if things are red, if things are green, it doesn't matter to these apps. They're gonna toy with your emotions to get you to buy and sell and buy and sell and buy and sell, because that's how they make money. And then oftentimes when we see these red numbers or even these green numbers, and we're filled with so much emotion, that's how we make very irrational decisions. How you make a rational decision is you get in a rational state of mind. You say, this is my plan. I plan on buying this position and holding it for this amount of duration, and then you stick to that plan regardless of what happens, right? So if you buy SPY, hold that for a year until you get long-term capital gains, and then right at that year, you just put in a market order for whatever that would be. Most people cannot follow this advice. It is incredibly difficult, although incredibly simple. It's because we're constantly being bombarded with news out there telling how everything is terrible or how everything is great and how you're missing out. You have to keep really insulated from all that negative or positive stimulus. Secret tip number 4 is to not overcomplicate things. And I know that this is hard advice to follow, because I'm sure many of you, even like if you got it this far, probably thought that there were actually some secret advice to this. But I think the true secret to investing is that there is no secret. And the problem is many people go into finance thinking that somebody out there must have like all the answers, that there's like a series of things you can do in order to make it big, and it's all just about like a matter of learning the correct things. And I think this trap is why there is such a huge economy even around providing these secret tips, right? So like newsletters or like subscriber only portals and stuff like that show you like specific trades and analysis. Like people eat that stuff up all the time because everybody out there is looking for some sort of secret, right? And what does that end up doing? It ends up overcomplicating things. I believe the only question that you have to ask yourself when investing is, do I believe the world tomorrow, it's going to be better than the world like today, right? In a year from now, do I think things will be better or worse? If things will be better, just buy an index fund and don't think about it. If you think that world would be worse, then we can talk about like shorting positions and whatnot, right? But for the most of us, I think most of us want to live in a world that's going to be better. Now, a lot of people in this current environment are like losing money, right? Like the stock market, as you can see, is like a little bit red and stuff like that because, if we were to take a look at a year ago from today and we ask ourselves, do we think the world will be better or will be worse? Well, the world today is a little bit worse. There's a war going on. There's COVID still spiraling out of control in places like China. The end right there is not in sight. There could be potential famines in the future. I think the people that took long positions on something like SPY did not anticipate that the world would be like this, but who could have, right? And at least for me, I always choose to believe that the world tomorrow will always be better than the world today. And if it's not, then I will lose money, yeah. But that is something that I will always bet on and something that I'll always believe, which is why I think you should just keep things simple. You should just long an index fund and then just live your life, right? People are going to try to overcomplicate things. They're going to tell you how you have to do research options and look at like beta charts and stuff like that. How you're missing out if you don't do X, Y, Z. Because they have an agenda. They want to push something on you. They want you, to subscribe or view their Patreon or like buy their like investment book. Tune a lot of that stuff out. Keep it super simple, and you're going to be doing much better than the average. Anyways, if you made it this far, congratulations. Again, I'm going to remind you that these investment tips are not anything world-changing, right? But I bet you that a majority of you watching this video are going to be unable to do the things that I outlined because you have some ulterior belief. And I bet you that the ones doing other things, 95% of you will lose money or won't make as much money as just putting it in SPY and letting it ride. That's why these things are so counterintuitive, because the advice seems so simple that you want to think that there's some like magical secret to this, but the only secret is that there's no secret. Anyways, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you another time. Thanks.